podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Hello, everybody. This is Myles David, and welcome back to Tuned Into Tennis. Today is August 20th, the Thursday, aka Friday Junior, and we are smack dab in the middle of the Cincinnati Masters WTA 1000 and ATP 1000, which is apparently, according to my mentions in internet, the main star of what happens in Cincinnati, which we'll get to. Some stars on the WTA and ATP tours like Swiatek and Arthur Feast are all up and through the draw, making their way through. There are some plot twists happening in the tournament, which we'll get to. And there are also some headlines that have kind of been off the court that we will be covering. And I say we. We'll get to those at the end of the show, maybe. They might be weaved in. Just stay tuned. And I say we because I'm joined by Miss Christina of Christina on Serve. She's a tennis content creator, a recent follower and engager of mine. I'm really happy that she is. So I wanted to get her on the show, kind of get lost in her tennis brain a little bit and talk about what's going on in Cincinnati as we gear up for the U.S. Open, which is like less than 2 full weeks away. So I'm happy to have you, Christina. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, Myles. Thanks for having me. I actually will say I've followed you for years on my personal account.
Oh, so I don't know if that's good or not.
No, I've been a longtime follower, and then I guess first time visitor here, and I only started making content like a year ago. So I was just kind of incognito, but I was following you for sure.
I'm glad that you have been following. I'm glad to put your full face forward with tennis content. But that leads me to my first question to get our listeners and viewers engaged in who you are. Yeah. What made you go full steam ahead into the tennis content, and tell us a little bit about what your tennis background is that got you to the point where you are, yapping just like me on the mic.
Yeah. So hi, everyone. I'm Christina. I create content under Christina on Serve on TikTok and Instagram. And I grew up playing competitive tennis. I played tennis all through when I was just lower school. It was an after school activity for my brothers and I have 2 brothers. And then I played through college. So the sport has always just been a huge part of my life since I was maybe 4 or 5. And I had my ups and downs. I quit, I came back, all that kind of stuff. It's just been a huge part of my life and my family's life. And I started making content, like I said, a year ago because of John McEnroe. Because I can't stand that man. And I remember I wasn't on TikTok for the longest. I used my friend's TikTok because I was like, I don't want them to have my information, And then I was like, fine, I'm going to make my own account because I just have to say I can't stand this man. And I think I was watching... It was last year's Roland Garros, so 2025 Roland Garros, and it was the final, the best final, Grand Slam final, one of them that we've ever seen between Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. And I was just I can't stand. Was that? Because that might have been TNT. I can't remember which one.
TNT was 2025 was their first year having the coverage, yeah.
But I think, was John McEnroe on the call?
For the final, I'm even though I'm not 100% sure, I'm close to 95% sure. They give that man wonderful billing for every match he wants.
Always. And I was just I can't stand him. He needs to be fired. And then I listed off all of the commentators that have to go. It was his brothers right behind him, Kirsty Everett, Chris Fowler. And that video got 20 or 30,000 views on TikTok. And I was huh? I didn't even know tennis TikTok was a thing. And so I was well, maybe people had comments and different questions, or well, then who would you want on the mic? And a lot of people agreed, but they had some questions. So I did some follow-up videos and realized that tennis TikTok was a thing. And so I was okay, maybe people also like my candor and my humor and the way I talk about tennis. And the way that me and my friends that I played tennis growing up with, and the way that me and my family talk about tennis, I didn't feel it was necessarily represented online. And it honestly shouldn't be. It isn't. The things that I come to the internet with have probably been watered down and filtered. The things that me and my friends say Like, yeah, they can't be
You
on
don't
the
want it to
internet.
leave the group message. I get it.
No, but I was like, and I think maybe junior tennis players, there has to be, like, I'm sure other junior tennis players or like former collegiate athletes, like they still have group chats with people they grew up playing their sport with or just what have you, and you have your own takes and that kind of thing. And so I was like, well, let me just start sharing like some of my takes. And so I did my Naomi Osaka hot take video, and I would say that was maybe my first viral video. I met with the good and the bad. Like, I found my people. People also dragged me for, you're an embarrassment for a Black woman, and why are you coming on this app and saying this and that? And so I just felt like, okay, there's room for me, and there's
room for
definitely
everyone.
room, yeah, in in tennis coverage to be informative and knowledgeable about the sport as someone who has been around tennis her whole life, but also like bring my perspective and be maybe a bit more like culturally aware, or just like tapped in as like, what is it like to be a Black woman?
And spicy. And like, you culturally aware is a great way of putting it, because I just kind of say like I bring colorful conversation. And it kind of means two things, because I am a person of color. And then also I feel like tennis, with the commentators you just mentioned, they can be they probably think that they're pushing the needle, but to the average person that watches a sporting product, it's not really interesting. Whereas you have a personality like myself, apparently. I didn't even think I was that controversial until I started talking to this
I don't even think
on
I'm
the internet.
controversial either.
But I've seen your comments, Miss Christina, and similar to myself, you aren't afraid to, I say, have the dialogue. It's not necessarily clapping back unless that's the energy that starts the engagement. But I don't mind having the dialogue about sport, because at the end of the day, like, there could be and there are literally things happening around the world that are much bigger than two people hitting a ball back and forth. So like, let's have fun. I feel like it's my, like, maybe not my mission number one, but it's similar to yours. I feel like it's to just have open conversation and fun conversation around tennis, which has a history of being very buttoned up and genteel and all of those things that I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you're either a millennial or a Gen Z, right?
I'm a zillennial. I'm literally the oldest of the Gen Z. So, like I said, I have my older brother who's 6 years older than my twin brother and I. And so everything growing up and he's a millennial. So we were trying to chase what he was into, and he was putting music on our iPod, and we were watching what he was watching on MTV, VH1, all this. So like, I'm very much a zillennial.
We grew up with that, and like, I feel like through those kind of mediums, VH1, BET, our tone and texture of what we talk, how we talk, and what our perspective on in the world is a little bit different than probably how we met tennis. I know that's what it feels like for me. I met tennis and I was like, this is different than the football, basketball, and baseball coverage I'm used to, but I still like it. And here we are 20 odd years later for me, and we're kind of building that lane to have colorful conversations for tennis. And I'm glad that you're in that lane too. Question for you. You said you played D1 tennis. Do you mind telling us where? Because there might be some stands of that university or school.
I played at the University of Dayton in Ohio. So even seeing the Cincinnati Open, I'm like, I've played there. And
wait, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is so on. I'm so glad I got you for this episode and this week of the tennis season. I didn't know that. So you're not from Ohio, but you played at Dayton State, was it?
University of Dayton. So it's in Dayton. Dayton's in between Columbus and Cincinnati. And we played at the Linder Family Tennis Center for our like fall invitational every year. And then we probably played University of Cincinnati a couple of times, but I spent 4 years in Ohio.
I love that. So you know about the glow up of the Linder Family Tennis Center.
Yeah, I'm like, I've never seen that. Like, I didn't see it when you look like that.
I have been watching tennis since the mid-2000s, and I remember when that Cincinnati stop was not even covered on the U.S. Open Series for the women. Like, the women didn't even have a 1,000, let alone a 500 level. I think it was like a 250. They didn't really get the cream of the crop, and now consistently they've been getting that for over a decade. So from that perspective, I am very appreciative of Cincinnati. And I will say, watching on television, I do have gripes with the television experience. One of the gripes I don't have with the Cincinnati Open is just how diverse and family friendly it looks. And I don't mean that lightly because people say things are family friendly all the time, but it's diverse in the fact that I see, of course, I'm going to see white people. This is a tennis event. But I also see Black people. I see Indian people. I see Asian people. I see all walks of life, Filipino people with Alex Eala and Alex Eala and her, really surge right now. And I also see families. Like, I'm seeing people that are older.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the working parents and their kids. And I'm seeing all of that kind of throughout all of the matches, not just on the stadium court or the side court, just kind of all throughout there. And I like that. It is a pro compared to the cons I have of just like realizing that this is a massive tennis tournament in the middle of Ohio. When you say it out loud, like, I don't have any personal beef with Ohio. I've been to Columbus once before.
Yeah.
It was one of the first times I ever remember being an adult and enjoying snow. So I don't have any personal beef with it. I just think it is quite funny in the landscape of tennis, which has a very highbrow factor in the fact that it's international and it goes to a lot of highbrow international cities and domestic cities in the U.S. as well, like Miami, Palm Springs, New York City. These are international destinations. People want to come and live their best lives. Mason, Ohio.
But I think that's where you end up getting that family factor that you were describing. Like, it's the Midwest. Everything that you kind of named, it is very characteristic of the Midwest in terms of like very family oriented. And they're just kind of everyday people. I didn't even know the Midwest was a thing until I showed up to Dayton. And like, Midwestern people will let you know they're Midwestern. Like, that's something they're very proud of. And so I do think it is cool that there is a tournament kind of in this like flyover state. I don't know how else to describe it, but in terms of just like, to your point, it's not a Palm Springs, it's not a Miami or a New York, but I had made a comment. I just had made a video the other day saying like, the best thing you can do is hurry up and lose at the Cincinnati Open. This person was like, no, this is the only tournament for us Midwestern people. And I'm like, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. And it's not going anywhere.
It's not.
They've invested so much money into upgrading that facility.
Yeah,
the players like it. It gets good reviews, but it's just my little running joke that it's in the middle of Ohio and not even Cincinnati proper. It's in Mason,
it's not.
Ohio.
I can tell you that.
Which is funny to me when you look at the list of Barcelona and Rome and London.
It's true.
It's funny.
True.
But I do like it. On the flip side, though, I do think they have to do a better job with finding a camera angle and sticking with it, and also being aware of audio that pours in from other matches throughout the arena or throughout the facility. Because some of the angles from center court are terrible during the day to the point where you can't even see the ball. Like, it just looks like a gray slate and the ball gets lost in the paint on the court, which is obviously harming the product. If you can't see two players that are there to hit a ball back and forth and you can't see the ball, it kind of hinders it. And then on top of that, if you are really into a player who may be playing on, a side court, the third biggest court, the fourth biggest court, a lot of times, whatever the announcers or the MCs or the DJs are doing on the bigger courts, it pours into other ones, which is that's not an uncommon thing in other tournaments, but for whatever reason,
it's really noticeable.
It's noticeable in the Cincinnati Open. I don't know why that's a thing. And maybe they should look into it while they're updating everything they have going on,
Yeah. The gripes that you have, I probably have with the Canadian Open. I was just like, what? I can't even watch. You can't even watch the tournament. Like, there's a whole nother tournament going on in another city. It's not being televised properly. Like, don't even get me started.
We're through with Canada. We're in Cincinnati.
Canada and Cincinnati, like,
it doesn't have this, and I've said this in prior episodes, this U.S. Open lead up doesn't have the same je ne sais quoi that it used to, but we're here. I'm still going to watch tennis, and we're going to make it do what it do. You said, while you were talking about like your background of tennis and doing the whole TikTok thing, that you've had some interesting comments and interesting dialogue, which, preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to know what your most recent video that like made me start churning and like, I need to get Christina on this show, which was the Alicia Parks breakdown. If you don't know who Alicia Parks is, I mean, I think you do if you're listening or watching to this show, Tuned Into Tennis. But if you don't, she is a former top 40 American tennis player. Beautiful girl, statuesque.
Beautiful gowns.
Beautiful. She's quite beautiful. She has a rapport with Serena Williams. They have recently played, kind of gearing up Serena to come back on the court. More on Serena on the court, by the way, so stay tuned. But Alicia Parks is a professional. She's, I think, turning 25, so or thereabouts. So, you know, she's I think that makes her Gen Z. I feel like an old uncle. She's Gen Z. She has a set of fans that really see a lot of potential in her, and I consider myself to be somebody that sees potential in Alicia. However, if you actually watch a tennis match of hers more than once, you can see some of the things that are limiting her game or kind of being put in her way, if not by her own making, that stops her from being more than just a top 40 player, which is respectable in its own right. But, you know, it's 40 and not one for a reason. You know, she hasn't won a big, substantial tournament. And you made a video kind of giving your analysis about what's going on with her game. And I think the last time I checked, I saw like over 600 comments under it. And I was like, whoa, people have feelings about Alicia Parks. So tell me what you thought about her game. What specific match was it that made you go, okay, I got to talk about this? And how have you dealt with the response of people either agreeing with you or giving you some pushback?
Was there a certain match? I think I was doing, take a step back. I was just doing my, I do this kind of like Black Girl Magic, Black Girls on Tour coverage where for major tournaments, I try to do it for all of the WTA 1000s and the Grand Slams. This one, I haven't done it because I'm like, I just did Canada. But, I haven't done it for Cincinnati. It's the only one this year that I haven't kept up with. But I pretty much do a status report on how the Black girls are doing at major tennis tournaments. And I started that this year. Again, I've only been doing this for a year. So I started in January with the Australian Open. And I just remember being like, how am I going to cover my first Grand Slam? And I was like, all right, well, who played today? And I found that I was just looking first at like the Black girls on tour. I was just like, how did Coco do? How did Taylor do? How did Alicia do? How did Naomi do? And I was like, wait, maybe that's the video. And so that's how I started doing the, here's your status report on how the Black girls are doing at blank tournament. And so I just did that for her Canadian Open match. And
Alicia's, right? Alicia's Canadian Open match.
Canadian Open match. And I think she won the first round and then she lost her second round. Oh, she lost her match to Iyala. Yes. And it was a great, it was another 3-set match. And I remember I had covered it earlier at the Australian Open when it was also a 3-set match. And Alicia had won, like, after coming back, having lost the first set, like something abysmal. And then she won the next 2 sets. And she was honestly playing against, like, it felt like all of the Philippines. And I was just like, she's better than me because I would have cursed everyone out. Like,
I think she did, to be honest, either in her head or out loud.
And she gave everyone like a pretty smile and a wave. And so this was their rematch. And I just remember watching the match and just being like, some of this is avoidable. Like, she had lost the first set really fast. Then she won the second set really fast. And then I think she lost the third set 6-2. And so I just had mental...
Cincinnati, right? Or in Canada.
In Canada, yeah. And so I had some mental notes. And I had actually seen her play in Miami a couple of times. I went to the Miami Open this year. And
so you're getting the whole Alicia Parks experience.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's just like I genuinely like following, one, the Black girls on tour, and 2, I don't have a problem with her just because I can provide, constructive criticism about her. So if I'm at a tournament, I'm going to go watch her play. And so even back when she played Coco at the Miami Open, I had made a predictions video about, I think Alicia's going to take the first set, and then I think Coco's going to win the next 2 sets. And so done. And I just knew that because her game, like she comes out guns blazing, and she had played a really great match or tournament in Miami so far. But I just always think that like she peaks at a certain point in a match, and then like it's like, can she keep this level up? And I personally just haven't seen her prove that she can keep that level sustained throughout a whole match. And I don't know, like that's that's what I see.
I can see how that thought process got you to the video of like saying she plays like a junior, which sounds harsh if you were like if you haven't watched some of the.
She genuinely reminds me of me, where you're just like, I am like playing like I'm Serena Williams, but like what you don't know is Serena is actually not just like blasting the ball around the court. There's smart. Like. Yeah, there's like some thought and there's technique and there's a strategy and tactic there. And I just think that when I watch Alicia's matches, I just think that is lost. And so I made a video about like she needs to learn margins. I mean, she will miss the ball like further out and wide than I've ever seen, or she'll hit in the bottom of the net, which I know as a former tennis player, if you hit in the bottom of the net, that means you had no the bottom of the net.
It's funny because you're not necessarily exaggerating.
No, I'm not. But like people don't. I don't know if there's anyone else. Like there's not too many other creators like you and I that are just saying this out loud. And so I think when people come across my video, again, it's back to you're an embarrassment of a Black woman, and two, like you're so rude, you're so harsh, you're ignorant, all sorts of stuff. You're a clown. I don't think, it's just like, I mean.
I hate that we have to experience that. One, because we know the commentary of a lot of tennis fans are impacted by what they see, not necessarily what they heard. Because I know I see a lot of things that are either in step or in the same category with other people that have their own platforms. And because I say it and I'm unambiguously Black and I have my own tone and I have my own presence and how I present everything, it gets like, how could you say that? That is deeply problematic. And I'm like, first of all, relax.
Right. Catch me in real life. Like, you guys think that this is the craziest. Also, the rest of the internet is saying diabolical things.
They are asking people to unalive themselves. We're not, like, I know there's steps.
I've never said that. And so I do think that people like arrive at our videos, arrive at our doorstep, and like they want on their high horse and like being the morality police. And I'm like, please stop. Like, I'm not the one, because I will go back and forth with you in the comments. And two, just like take it up with someone else. I actually didn't say, and sometimes, and what I've seen with that Alicia Parks video too, is like the 600 comments, the video takes on a life of itself. The comment section takes on a life of itself. And so I think that some people have also come to the video like, this girl commented the other day, I wish you would have started this video more thoughtfully and ended it more nicely or something like that. And I'm like, I think you're responding to the comments, because I'm actually not going to change my tone, but also I didn't come here to like.
I think your tone is fine. You're not cursing anybody out. You're not yelling into your phone. You're taking your lived experience as a tennis player. Obviously, you're not a former WTA professional, and I guess people will be like, you don't know what you're talking about because you're not playing at her level. Well, are you? Like, we're in the same space. You can open up your phone and create a video about the players you like and don't like, and here I am doing that. But I think you made it wasn't like you were just climbing her down or clawing at her back just for the sake of doing so. You made tangible things apparent about where her game is and where it could be to get better. Because I think at the core of all of this, if Alicia Parks starts winning matches, you and I are going to be the ones watching the matches and supporting her. Like, it comes from a place of like, girl, we want you to be great. And everybody can't be world number one and be a multi-slam champion. But with Alicia specifically, when you have some of the like nudging of Serena Williams on your back and wanting to play practice sets with you, she has to see something, because she doesn't really give out that accolade or like that access often, right? And to kind of show up in tennis matches the way that she does sometimes, where it seems like her personality and her, which she's allowed to have, she's allowed to be frustrated, but it does feel like sometimes.
Right, and I didn't even touch on that in my video. I didn't even
talked
go
about
into
the X's and O's.
Yeah, I didn't even touch on her demeanor. I didn't touch on how she looks. And other people picked up on that in the comments, and it's also true, but I try to keep it above grade. I tried to keep it about tennis. Yeah. And didn't talk about people's looks. I didn't talk about their attitude. None of that.
She's beautiful, and tactically she has great weapons in her game. Mm-hmm. But I think the point I took away from your video, and we'll move on a little bit after this because I want to ask you another question before we get into Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. What I took away from your video is that there are tactical improvements she could make, and here's my perspective on how she could make them, and they're pretty obvious, and we don't see why you're not taking heed into that. And this is not to dig on Alicia, but it also, I DM'd you this, it made me think about the players that also have deficiencies. Nobody has a completely perfect tennis game, but there are players with deficiencies or things that are not as great as other players on the tennis court that are outperforming her. And I brought up a name like Ekaterina Alexandrova, who has big weapons, can really open up a point with one stroke of the racket like Alicia Parks can. But Alexandrova has won WTA 500. She made it to semis of 1,000. She's been a top 10 player, I believe. And Alicia can't.
Because I think there's just strategy. There's it's just you kind of see because you could say that Sabalenka, Rybakina, Osaka, Keys, Anisimova, those are all Grand Slam winners or Grand Slam finalists for a reason, because they play a very similar game. It's balls to the wall, but it is there's a strategy behind it, and they're building points. And I think that is something that Alicia can do better. And I'm genuinely not trying to be funny. They're making more than 4 balls in a point. I'm not that's not even.
It's not
if
funny.
If you watched her just play her first round Cincinnati match or her second round match,
keeping the ball in the court is.
And I don't think that there's really anyone on the ATP tour. I know you had asked, is there equivalent on the ATP tour? And I just don't think you can get away with that. I think on maybe their worst day, Tsitsipas, or a Nick Kyrgios when he was just dicking around, or there are people who are, when they're just not serious, they're maybe playing like that. But I don't think there's that type of margin on the ATP tour to be a top 40 player playing like that. But on the WTA tour, I think it's a 50-50, and it actually makes a lot of sense because her record on the season is literally 24 and 24.
It's 500,
50% of the time, her style she's going to be better than the other girl on the other side, or she's going to overpower the other girl on the other side of the net. 50% of the time, the other person is either going to have a better strategy, or she's going to self-destruct. And so I think that's why you can still be a top 100, a top 50 player with her game style, because 50% of the time you're going to be better than the other girl on the other side of the court.
Which explains why we haven't seen her too deep in the tournaments, because she'll win a match or two, and then by the third match is that high-risk style of game is not going to win 3 days in a row or 3 matches in a row. It just logistically and scientifically can't if you're taking that many risks. But if this ever gets back to Alicia, girl, we're rooting for you.
I don't even make that many videos about people why didn't you say this about a white girl? I don't care about them as much as I care about Alicia Parks. That's why I made the video about Alicia Parks. Of course we're seeing the white girls play every day, and I have some of my favorites, but I actually care about Alicia and her success, so that's why I made the video.
It makes sense to me. It rubbed me the right way. I got the sense that I was listening to somebody who actually watches tennis and is not just rage baiting and cares about her, but just has some critiques. It is what it is. But you mentioned some of your favorites that aren't a part of the Black Girl Magic Coalition on the WTA Tour and the Black Boy Magic on the ATP Tour. And we both push Black Magic across the spectrum on our platforms, which I'm never going to stop. Rooting for everybody Black, like Issa Rae says. But there are people that are not Black that we root for as well. And I'm interested, who are some of yours on the ATP or WTA Tour?
Okay, I have a few on both. We can start with WTA. I think I mentioned earlier, Marta Kostyuk. I love that girl. I just think that she's had such a great year, but she's such a fighter. And I think that might be a theme throughout the people that I really like. So Marta Kostyuk, I've always loved Paula Badosa. I think her game is so beautiful. Her strokes, beautiful. Her face card, beautiful. Like, I just think that all around, actually, same thing with Marta Kostyuk.
Yeah. Baddies.
They are baddies, but they're like ballers.
Yeah, at the same time. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
Of course, Alex Ayala, I think that she's also a baddie and a baller.
Same.
A name that we don't hear as much anymore. I don't even know if she formally retired or just is very injured, but Patrice Hada Maya. I used to love Hada Maya because, again, don't know anyone who is more mentally resilient than she is. And I think with all of those girls that I named, they have personality on court, but they continue to fight, and they're physical in their play. Aggressive ground strokes, great movement, great defense to offense, and someone who's looking to build a point. And they just play with intensity, whether you can see that on their face or just in their demeanor on court. They're mentally resilient under pressure. So those are the girls that I'm just like...
The Haddad Maya shout out is really taking me for a little loop because I haven't thought about her in a while because she's had a couple of off seasons now, and she just made an Instagram video saying she's done for the rest of the season, which, it's almost September. The season goes until basically November, so it's not that much of a chunk, but I think she needs a hard pause to deal with maybe some physical issues and some mental issues, because losing a lot does take a toll on you, to be honest. But she's an interesting game style because she takes up a lot of space in my mind. Like, she's a very tall and dominating figure on the tennis court compared to some other girls.
Kind of reminds me of Badosa, because Badosa's quite tall too.
Yeah, but she doesn't play like Badosa. She's fine with rallying, doing 50 ball and scrambling. Her serve, for her to be tall and a lefty, it kind of just goes in and starts the point. But in the middle of a point, she's not trying to lose it.
Yeah, that's what I appreciate. Like, all of those girls are just absolute grinders. They find ways to win. They're not so concerned about winning pretty. Definitely all players willing to win ugly. And so, what
about on the ATP side? What non-black players are you having an affinity for watching?
I think in the same vein, Alcaraz is just absolutely one of my favorite players in recent times in general. So, of course, Alcaraz...
Did you see his announcement on Instagram?
I did. And I had a video to
playing
post.
The U.S. Open.
Yes. And I had a video on, if I was his publicist, I would need him in front of the camera and telling us where he is. And then he posted, and I was like, shit, I need to post right now because now my video is already out.
It's gonna sound like you were influenced by that when actually
and I was like, no, I filmed this days ago. I just didn't know when was a good time to post. And now, of course, he said he's playing the U.S. Open. But
do you think it matters what he does at the U.S. Open, or it's just one of those it's a slam, it's important, but we're just happy that you're healthy and back on the court?
100%. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of getting back. I don't even know if he would go into it like, I'm here to defend. And I do think one thing I've learned about the tennis world now that I've just been a bit more on social media is everyone has unreal expectations. I don't know where. Maybe they come from just we had so many goats. And so...
especially on the men's side. Yeah.
The men's side, but and Serena, where you just grow to expect certain people to win everything. And I just see people's just complete delusion online. And you're like, huh? Even when they were Sinner's gonna complete tennis, ever since he's been losing at Grand Slam, you're just
I think it's interesting.
Can't win everything.
You literally can't, but I feel like depending on where you found tennis, right? If you just found out about in the last 10 years or so about Roger, Rafa, Novak, and Serena, you may just wake up and think that people have 20 slams, and it does not work that way. It takes a lot of time to get to a point where your resume and your trophy cabinet looks legit. And if you really take a step back, I know we all miss Carlos Alcaraz, and I desperately do. The tour does, the product that is entertaining men's tennis misses him. But if you zoom out, the kid has been winning consistently everything you almost
If it's not him,
can.
it's Sinner.
Yeah, since 2022. And that's a 4 chunk of years, and he's not even 24 yet. So he's playing the long game and wants to clutter up his trophy cabinet as best he can.
Yeah.
It may not be a U.S. Open trophy, given everything that's going on. But I am very happy that we're going to see him back on the court because, tennis needs him.
Him and I would say just like, I wouldn't say like Sinner's like one of my favorite players, but I think that you can't deny that he's incredible, GOAT in the making. And if and when he's playing against Alcaraz is my favorite. I do think that he's not like an entertainer like Alcaraz, but that's okay.
He needs he needs a drop of something else to like wake it up, if that makes any sense. He's a great base, but he needs like if I was baking why do I always have an analogy? Oh my God, Myles.
No, they say that's really good for communication.
But if I was like baking something, right? He would be a layer of flavor.
He's bone broth.
Yeah.
He's bone broth.
He's like, you gotta have it. He's the flour, the egg, the milk. He's the vanilla. But vanilla is great. But if I want to take my cake or my pudding or whatever to the next level and make it a salted caramel, you gotta throw some stuff in there,
I know. But him and Carlos make a great like salt and pepper, fire and ice. They are perfect, like a perfect combo.
Who else would you throw in there? As a non-black
player. I will say the rest of these guys are just like, they're just fine. They're just hot. Like,
okay.
Well, I will say,
I'm all ears.
Tommy Paul, I think he's fine, but I also think that he has
Don't say it. What are you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say he has just like a nice demeanor on court. He's like cool, calm, and collected. I don't know. He could be. I don't know what his political affiliation is.
I was hoping you didn't say. He seems a little MAGA.
He seems a little.
That seems like a popular sentiment, and I gotta say.
But I mean, I just try to separate it because I'm just like, the more I think about it, the more he looks it. But it's just
not the more you look at him. I will say, I have shared space and time with a lot of white men.
Same.
And we all have. I don't know Tommy very well, but I have been able to speak to him at press conferences. That's not the vibe I get. I can't say who he's going in the booth and voting for, but I don't get the vibe that he is very obscenely make America great again or Republican red. It may be in his views somehow, white. Yeah, it's a white American man. But I don't think he's going to be the first to throw a tomato at you and call you the N-word, so.
No, I don't get those vibes either. So that's why I say Tommy Paul, because I do root for him in a draw as well. I also love the way he plays, similar, just trying to build points, grind through points.
Great mover.
Great mover. So he falls into my category there. I don't see people talking about this. I think Zizou Burge is
get out of here, because I agree.
Really?
No, I agree that he's good on the eyes. I can totally see him being attractive and magazine kind of guy, but he also looks young for his age, which is not typical. I wouldn't think that a white guy from Belgium will be like, "Oh, Arthur Feast is too young for me." I'm like, I'm not 40. I actually I might be a little older than him, but I'm not you. So don't be coming on under my videos talking about, but he's a little young, a little young for you. I get it.
I'm not punching that high. But yeah, Zizou.
Zizou is cute, and he's 27, 28, which is kind of
hello.
But no, in tennis terms, I'm not thinking hot terms, because that's, he's a grown man. But in tennis terms, it's where have you been?
I know.
So I want him to kind of take a step up and,
I was going to say, I wish he could be just a bit more competitive. I mean, he obviously already is. Just hearing his name in more conversations. Him and... Matteo Berrettini is just maybe one of the hottest guys on tour. So,
Matteo, I hate that. I've gotten to this point.
I don't really like the way he plays, but
I hate that I've gotten to the point where I sigh when I think about Mateo because he's just always injured.
Him and Jack Draper. Don't even get me started on Jack Draper, but
brother. Okay, you know what? Before we get down the the basket hole of hot ATP men who are unfortunately let's
have not much to offer outside of that.
Let's switch over to the women's side because we have made it to quarterfinal land in the Cincinnati Open, which is, if you've been listening to Tuned Into Tennis, my favorite stage of a tournament because I feel like the people who have had like a little Cinderella run or whatever are still in the draw, and the big dogs are still in the draw usually. And from this point on, it's about who is going to set themselves up to win this tournament. Is it going to be one of the best tournaments of your life or your career, or are you going to be a big dog that just lifts another trophy and kind of cements your status at the top? So that's where we are in Cincinnati. Speaking of big dogs, do you want to go into big dog territory with a name that neither of us have mentioned yet, but is one of the top remaining seeds in Cincinnati? Speaking of Miss Iga Swiatek.
Is it Iga or Rybakina?
Iga and Rybakina play later this evening, on Thursday evening, I do believe.
Yeah, tonight.
They play tonight. If you're listening to this, hopefully it's not in out-of-date tennis news, but it is what it is. She is, I think on a 9-match winning streak, Iga is, after going from winning in Canada, Toronto, and now in the quarters of Cincinnati. She's only dropped one set against Maria Sakkari. She won the next two very convincingly, and she has put another great performance in to get to the quarterfinals over French qualifier Diane Perry, 6-3, 6-3, and Iga has now reached her 30th career WTA 1000 quarterfinal. So, definitely big dog status, like I said, fresh off the status of winning a title, and she's the defending champion of last year in Cincinnati, which I keep forgetting. Have you watched her matches? Do you think she is going to lift the Cincinnati Open vase again? Tell me your thoughts on Iga Swiatek.
Yeah, I had just said a couple weeks ago that I thought it was going to be either her or Rybakina lifting the trophy in Canada. So said, so done. I think that she's back in the sense that we're not watching her search for her tennis anymore. She seems to be a lot more clear on what she wants to do on the court. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in between her ears. Mentally, though, during that Maria Sakkari match, that one set she dropped, I was like, are you going to crack? Because, it does seem like it's a very fine line between, peak Iga or locked in Iga and crying on the court Iga. It's it literally only takes a few points for her to just go over the edge. So I'm not ready to say that we're back in an era where it's Iga and everybody else. And I don't know if they'll ever be back in that era. I think that
I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I don't want to see it either. I mean, I don't even like talking about her in this way, but it's fine. We call a spade a spade. I do think when I put my personal feelings aside, when it comes to her, I'm baller. You see her develop a point and you're like,
she got
that's
this.
That's why you have as many Grand Slams as you do.
You're a good girl.
Incredible. Yeah. That is a great point. Great mover, great forehand. Just, you understand why she's won 6 Grand Slams. You understand why this is her 30th. What did you say?
30th WTA quarterfinal. But she's already won almost 20 something. So typically when she's deep at a big event, she puts on the afterburners and she's a champion. So we'll see what that looks like against Rybakina in the quarters. How do you feel about Rybakina? I'm asking you because I feel like most of my followers know how I feel about those two players in particular.
Really?
So I'll let you
Okay. Yeah. Rybakina, I mean, someone had commented this, and I totally agree. They're like, she's playing with mob money, or she is playing she wants to be world number one, as she should. And I think she's playing like she knows that world number one's on the line. Because I was going to say, I thought Coco, that's a whole nother conversation. Coco should have won that match in Canada.
She should have.
Because going into it, I was like, Rybakina's played 3 grueling 3-set matches to get to that point. She's been playing, actually, to your point, really nervous and just very shaky, but playing with mob money in the sense that she finds a way by any means necessary
the
to win these matches. Yeah. And she's like flushed. You look like she's about to pass out on court and you're like, are you okay? And then she wins the match. You're like, I guess she's fine because she's playing in that sense. And I think that that's going to help her come U.S. Open or even just towards the end of the year because she has to win. She's the defending WTA finals winner. So she might have her eyes set more on like U.S. Open towards the end of the year, just making sure she ends the year world number one, as opposed to like winning. I could see her winning Cincinnati before she wins the U.S. Open. I know that sounds crazy, but I heard that she hasn't made it past the fourth round at the U.S. Open before.
She is not.
And I was like, well, that makes me rethink my favorite because I don't want anyone going into the U.S. Open. I'm not going to pick anyone who has never made it to that stage. Yeah, like not even close to say my favorite. So
she still has a hell of a game, and similar to what we said about Iga, like you can watch her play, and even though she's not a player I'm watching and like jumping out of my seat for or like rooting for, very boring. Mama, she puts together.
She's Sinner. Her and Sinner.
She's the like.
They could never play mixed doubles.
She's
together.
The base of the coffee, or she's the base of the cake. I guess I don't know. She's the bone broth, and that's that's not some seasoned bone broth with the Rybakina. But she has a great serve and is aggressive to no end and. Yeah, great. And Rybakina and Iga will face off again to get to a spot in the
Which is great. One of you guys have to go. Like,
we're not going to watch you guys into a final again.
Yeah, so
see ya.
Fight each other.
fight.
Literally.
That is funny. Okay. Who do I want to go to next? Oh my God, I lost my spot.
There's Jessica, there's Coco, and
Jessica is a great spot to go because she just won. She's already into the semifinals. She defeated Amanda Anisimova. Barely. Was it 7-6 in the third? I was looking up the score.
7-6 in the third, 7-4, I want to say, in the tiebreak. And she was up in that set. She could have won 5-3, I think, and then Amanda took it to a tiebreak. So. Oh no, Jessica. I actually have another video dropping about her as talking about the billionaire heiresses of the WTA tour.
Her and Emma Navarro.
And can children of billionaires win Grand Slams? Do you have the hunger that it takes to win a Grand Slam? I think she has the weapons. And I just don't know if it's like an emotional hurdle that's keeping her from getting into. Well, she played in the Grand Slam final just last year, at the U.S. Open. So I think she can definitely.
2024, yeah. Or
2024. So right. Amanda Anisimova was last year. I think her floor is incredibly high. I mean, that's why back when I was new to TikTok, I was just literally saying whatever I wanted. And I was like, she's so overrated, her and Taylor Fritz. And while I still can stand by that, I think that I say that because they just stick around the top of the tour without being like completely dominant. They just are, they're top 5 players without having won a Grand Slam. But I think that that's because she's a consistent player. You never look at her and you're like, what on earth are you doing on this court? She's consistent. And I think she can consistently get to this stage of a tournament, semifinals of a Masters 1000. She can make it to the quarters of a Grand Slam, right? But do you have the extra gear when the person on the other side of the net is playing lights out? She showed that she did against Amanda Anisimova today. Do you have the extra gear to do that on the biggest stage? And we haven't seen her do that just yet. So
some great points. I mean, in theory, you would think a billionaire has what it takes to win a Grand Slam. And Pegula, the billionaire or the billionaire heiress, which I feel two ways about like harping on the fact that Pegula is a billionaire heiress because one, I would want to switch places with her in a
Oh
heartbeat.
yeah,
Because,
I'm like I'm jealous. Like
yeah, I'm
it's
not a
all
hater.
people are like, you have such hater energy. I'm like, I am. Like, what do you want me to say? You want to be like,
Like,
no, I'm not.
if you
Yes,
give me
I am.
if you put two apples in my head and said, do you want to choose to be a billionaire heiress
Coco
or
says
like
it all the time. She's like, if
Big
I could
Mama,
change,
Big
yeah,
Mama,
Big Mama. Like, yeah,
she does
I
say
have no problems with Jessica Pagula. Like,
that is so funny that Big Mama has caught on to like now we know about it. That is
because we know
hilarious.
exactly what she means, and Coco's real for that. That's why she's my girl.
Coco is wonderful, which we'll talk about in a second because she's still in the tournament. But Pagula, yeah, I think she's playing the type of tennis that can beat anyone left in the draw, but she's also playing the kind of tennis that anyone left in the draw can beat her, which is
That's exactly what I was thinking, right?
Yeah.
Like you could be like, could she win Cincinnati? Absolutely. Would she be my first pick left with everyone left in the draw? Probably not. Like Iga, Rybakina, maybe Coco, or
even
Kostyuk. Yeah, but would I say Jessica's my first pick? No, but can I see her doing it? Sure.
She is a cool girl, though, and I do think she deserves more cool girl credit because I was just watching a post-match interview, the match before this, where she beat Sorana Cirstea, and she was doing an interview with the his name is on the tip of my tongue, and I cannot think of it. Oh, I'm gonna feel bad.
Tennis Channel?
No, he's MC on site at the Cincinnati Open. And I hate that I can't think of his name at the top of my mind because I know him. We've spoken. Anyway, she was asked by him like about her vibe and what's her walk-on songs and music. And she also gave a story about like what her pre-match ritual is. And she said something so funny because she was like, basically, I just make sure I have my wedding ring and look at my phone. No, it's not Andrew Krasny. It is a black guy. And his name is on the tip of my tongue. He's done Austin. He's done Indian Wells. And I just cannot think of his name. Oh, it's going to bother me so much. Oh.
Kondo?
Yes. Thank you so much for being a better typer than I am. Yes, Kondo. Kondo, I think his Instagram is like Kondo TV or Kondo Speaks. He's great. Love watching him when he does on-court interviews. Kondo, if you're listening to this, I might post this. But yeah, you're a great interviewer. And that little tidbit that you had with Jessica Pagula to like talk us through or give her opinion about what she does post-match. She gave a funny story about like how she lost her engagement ring. And when she said it, I was like, I would imagine that engagement ring costs a lot of money. What are you doing? And she said it so like she had a perfect balance of making it relatable, but also very much so it's not a big deal.
I could get another one.
Yeah, I could get another one. And I was like, wow, like you lose.
She's really down to earth. Yeah,
you're
she
losing your
really great
$1 million engagement ring, but you're not stressing about it.
She's like, let's be for real.
It wasn't pompous. It was just like, I get it. I get it. So shout out to Pagula and Kondo for getting that funny story out of her. Who does she take on next? She takes on the winner of
Iga and Rybakina.
Okay, cool. Yeah, either one of those matchups, Iga Pagula or Rybakina Pagula, I'd be here for because Pagula has kind of turned around the head-to-head with her and Iga, and then I think her head-to-head with Rybakina is a little bit on Rybakina's favor. And I remember their match in the Australian Open semis that was not good until it got good. When it got good when Pagula started really getting in her counterpunching bag, which I think the surface in Cincinnati is good for her. But it is tricky though because counterpunching means like similar to what we were saying at the beginning of the show with Alicia Parks, like 50-50. I think counterpunching is a magnificent skill and using somebody else's pace against them. But you also have pace coming at you, and sometimes it's going to overpower you. And I feel like that's what happens with Pagula. So it's kind of like how many times is her opponent going to play right into her hands, or is going to just completely outpower her? So we'll see what happens in the semifinal with Pagula and or Rybakina or Swiatek. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Either way, that's a top 10 matchup for a WTA 1000 semifinal, so that's good. Let's go to top 10 seed Marta Kostyuk. She is into the quarterfinals and faces Coco Gauff next. Kostyuk had a great win over Mira Andreeva, which was a rematch of the... Why are you smiling?
That Ukrainian-Russian matchup is always going to be It's going to be top tier anytime because it's not just about the tennis.
It's good beef. It's a little unnerving to me because it's not like it's political beef, which is a little dicey, at least for me, to digest. But I do understand the sentiment that like they're playing for something bigger.
Yeah, I think that it elevates the match every single time. And I don't know, just I guess, and maybe I'm biased just because I have someone close to me that is Ukrainian, but it's just like, it doesn't even feel like political beef in the way that like how Ukrainians quite literally have to deal with this like day in and day out. It does feel bigger than politics, but yeah, March has been playing also, if you want to talk about Mob Money, I mean, she's been playing unreal.
She has. It's been a sustained excellent season. Like Clay season to now, she won a 250 in the lead up to Madrid. She won Madrid, semis of the French, semis of Wimbledon.
Yeah, she didn't lose until, semis of Wimbledon. I mean, or maybe quarters of Wimbledon.
And the funny thing about the Mira Andreeva and Marta Kostyuk match is the last two times they played, either one of them was the winner of the tournament. Obviously, the Madrid final. The Madrid final was the final, so obviously Kostyuk won, but Mira Andreeva won in the semi.
Marta Kostyuk.
Yeah. And Kostyuk, can you imagine? I mean, I guess it's not that far away, but Kostyuk being a two-time WTA 1000 champion in the same season, like,
I think that'd be amazing. Yeah, I think at this point too, it's like at some point you have to. When you keep beating top 10 players, when you have a run like she has, like you stop calling it a run and you acknowledge that her level has changed. Yeah, like she is a top 10 player. And then you question, like, can she turn these great weeks into just like the expectation rather than being surprised that she's there? And I mean, at this point, it's just like, I mean, I think she's even talked about it during her press conferences and interviews too. She's like, I don't know what changed, but I'm just having fun. And like, I've never really been to these stages of tournaments before. Like, I haven't really been talked about as like a favorite, but like in the quarters, in the semis, in the finals. And so, I mean, I'm just very impressed with her game and her ability to sustain it across different surfaces.
She's
like, I'll kick your ass on the clay, and then we can go to grass, and then we can be back on hardcore. Like, she's going to fight. She's going to look bad. She's like, I mean, I'm here for it.
I saw a video of her, and I had to like double check that it wasn't AI, but she was wearing this very like glitzy, glammy, nude underneath black dress. And I was like, wait, that's Marta Kostyuk? I said, all right, girl.
I know.
I don't know where she was going.
She goes out, and Eva Liss goes out. They're all friends. And like, I'm like,
I love that. Well, I do like it, but I'm not mad at some beef either. So I like where she is on both sides of the spectrum. She has the like hot girls that she's out.
The girl gang. I do like the fact that there's a lot of like friendships. Now that we have more friendships than just Sabalenka and Badoza, like, oh, thank God. We want to see that.
Do you think that... I wonder if they've actually ever gone out. Marta Kostyuk and Coco Gauff, who play next in the quarterfinals.
Maybe. I think that they have a lot of similar friends. At least maybe it's just Eva Liss, but I think.
Do you think they have a little tension between each other? Because their matches have been.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Maybe I just have. I haven't been paying attention.
I do remember that Australian Open 2024 match that they played. I think in the quarterfinal stage, and Marta Kostyuk's, maybe it was then her fiance, but now her husband. I think he was wearing like a cocoa nuts or something hat. And I didn't think it was that deep. I thought it was kind of playful and maybe just like play on like, oh, my fiance or wife is playing Coco Gauff. But some people, this is kind of typical with the internet sometimes, but I saw some people, make it more of like a dig at her than, just a kind of play on Coco, but I haven't seen any actual beef between them on the court, and I'd like it to stay that way just because it's better. But I wouldn't be necessarily mad if they have like a heated rivalry. I wouldn't be mad at it. And their matches,
I like them both so much. I would just prefer that they like have stay together. It's all good vibes. Yeah,
good healthy rivalry, not too much beef. And their matches are super athletic, and like that Australian Open quarterfinal stays in my head because it was wacky, but they were covering so much court. Double faults galore on both sides. It was messy, but I love mess. I love the mess.
It'll probably remind me of like Like Coco and Svitolina have great matchups, and so I imagine it'll be something like that in terms of also very messy. But they're just two of my favorite players in terms of Kostukin and Coco. So,
sorry, Fidelina. She had to withdraw from this tournament with a foot injury.
Yeah,
which is kind of recurring, and we don't know if she's going to play the U.S. Open, wishing her health. But I don't like that matchup with Fidelina and golf. It makes me not a fan.
Oh no! Do you like them both too?
Oh, I love Coco Gauff. We mean Coco Gauff and Svitolina? Or yeah, I love Coco Gauff. Literally have been watching since the Wimbledon run in 2019. Loved seeing like her arc which is, I guess I'm not going to pass up the opportunity to talk about Coco. Her arc as a professional player is wonderful to see, because now I feel like she's in this nice little pocket where the holes in her game aren't like completely filled up, but she is more than aware of them and have found the reps.
They're not as big as people make them seem.
Yeah, the forehand clunkiness is still happening. The second serve clunkiness is still happening.
Sure.
But at the moment, she is having those moments, but getting right back on the horse, which I think is kind of all we've ever wanted.
Yeah.
It's sometimes you have the game that you have. Everybody can't be like a quick 1-2 punch kind of player. There's a myriad of ways to skin a cat. Like people say down south, there's a bunch of ways to skin a cat. I think that's the thing.
I was about to say, I don't know who says that, but I know exactly
I've heard it a lot. The typical phrase is there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah,
why you want to skin a cat? I don't know why. But there's more than one way to play tennis. And Coco has her way, and it's working for her. She hasn't won a title this year yet, but 2 finals.
She's been right there. I was going to say.
Rome, semis of Wimbledon, quarters of the Australia. Like, that is putting in good work pretty much every tournament you go to.
Semis of Canada, finals at Miami. That's the thing. I think people think if she's not winning, people start talking about her like there's something terribly wrong. Meanwhile, she's putting herself deep in just about every tournament. And so I'm a Coco defender. I would literally go to war for her on TikTok. I do. And she's another one where it's like, I'm not afraid to be like, yo, right, these are her flaws or these are her gaps. But I don't think, and this is a conversation I have in my group chats, is like easily has the best mental game on tour. There's no one like as resilient as Coco. There's no one who can come out of a match, a bad loss, and have like the clarity that she has just moments after losing. Like her Wimbledon press conference, I mean,
that
you
is
just know that the world number one would have never, like, she was like, I just want to get messed up. Like, all right, get Sabalenka off. Like, get this girl off of our...
Isn't Coco 22?
Yeah, like, it's just like Coco is just years beyond measure. And like there's no one who, to me, has a better mental game than her. And I think that just speaks volume. Like, that just makes her that much more of a better player. And I think
she speaks about it very well.
She sticks around in tournaments just based off of her ability to stick in matches mentally. And
her game itself is quite high caliber, because the second serve has its problem, but she pops in a good first serve, and either it starts to point for her, sets up her backhand or forehand, or she gets an outright winner, and that's good. And her backhand is world class. She's not missing too many of those. She's directing the point with that. So she's done everything we've expected her to do too. I think she's met all the expectations. I think when you look at her game, she doesn't strike you as someone who would have 8 Grand Slams by the time she's 22. I think she'll have 8 Grand Slams. In her end of her career, sure. But I never expected when we saw her at 15 years old. Gotcha. I know what you mean.
To be like, oh, she's going to win every Grand Slam from here on out. But that's what people just assumed, because she looks like Venus, that she'll just like, or like because she's black, then like because she's black, she must be like Serena.
So then she's easily. Yeah.
Like, I can see her definitely with a number of slams at the end of her career, but where she is right now at 22, I think she's doing everything that I would have expected her to do and more.
makes perfect sense, and I couldn't have said it better. We're rooting for you, Coco, and I'm definitely going to be enjoying that Marta Kostyuk match because I think their matches are great. Hey guys, if you're enjoying today's episode, please take a look at the episode description, support the growth of the show by grabbing a coffee from the link, and while you're at it, be sure to engage with Tuned Into Tennis on social networks. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook is where you can find us. Leave a review if you like what you're listening to so far, and let's get back to the show. Close up the women's section before I ask you who you think is going to ultimately win the whole thing and make a firm prediction and stick on it. The women's top seed is out. Aryna Sabalenka took a loss to Czech player Sarah Balick, who looks like one of the actresses
did you figure out who?
Yes, she looks like one of the actresses from Orange is the New Black, and I'm going to find her name. I am looking on my Twitter right now because somebody said it, and I have to go say her name. Because she also looks like, there's two people she looks like, Miss Sarah Balick. And we're going to focus on her instead of Sabalenka, because Sabalenka is in a state, my God, today. Let's see. No, not her. Where is she? The most popular name I've seen is Cara Delevingne.
Cara Delevingne, yeah.
Cara Delevingne. I definitely see it in the eyes and the eyebrows for sure. But the person, when I saw her, I was like, there's a actress that she reminds me of that I can't quite put a name on. Her name is Taryn Manning, and she was in Orange is the New Black. And she's been some other things too. But I see the Taryn Manning of it all with Sarah Balick. And on top of all of that, the fact that she has like a recognizable face for me, she has a great game. And she's a lefty. Yeah. I'm partial to lefties. She moves like a dream out there. She's a fighter. She has that Czech heritage, and that heritage is deep.
Those are all my dark horses at the U.S. Open. If you're Czech, okay, you're going to win. Like, moving on to the next round. Like, they're so good.
Did you watch her match against Sabalenka? Which ultimately she won, and that's her biggest win of her career. What do you think about it?
Sabalenka played so bad. I laughed so hard because I made a video. I was like, going into the hardcourt swing, I said, I'd be nervous if I was Aryna Sabalenka. And I laid out all the reasons why. Ever since she got that ring, ever since she got that dog, ever since the Sunshine Double, she hasn't looked happy since. Like, she hasn't
in Miami or something.
Yeah, it was at Indian Wells. Right? So that Indian Wells and Miami were just like, she wins both. She was on cloud 9, and it's been a long descent ever since. And I don't care for her, so I don't really. You
know what match that has kind of been forgotten about because the player that upset her has been injured, and it's the Haley Baptiste match in
rocked
Madrid.
Her world.
Yeah, she lost 6 match points.
Well, that's what I think is also so like, and what I said back then, and what I'll say now is just like what I said back then when that Haley Baptiste match. I mean, I thought that was a signal to the rest of the tour that like, anyone can beat the world number one. And then she's continued to lose to Swiatek, Diana Snyder, Jessica Pegula, Balick. Like, now, the fact that so many people can say they've taken out the world number one, and I think she's actually at a point where she had so many of her fans saying, like, she'll be fine. She wasn't fine. And she's not fine mentally. I don't think she likes being the world number one right now. At one point,
it's all she wanted. And
and she loved it. And I don't know what switched, but she even talks about like having so much pressure on her and talks about being world number one so much in a way that like, I feel like if you felt comfortable in it, you would just be it. But she talks about like, I don't think this is how a world number one would play. And so that's my upset at the U.S. Open. She's losing.
It's coming, yeah. And she might be losing that world number one ranking by the time Cincinnati ends because all Rybakina has to do is make the final. If she wins it, she'll be number one for sure. But I think if Rybakina wins the final, numerically by a couple of points, because Sabalenka's defending points at Cincinnati and Rybakina's gaining them, Rybakina might leave Cincinnati as world number one. But it's interesting that, and I hadn't really stopped and thought about this, but it is interesting that she experienced such like a personal high in Indian Wells and Miami, literally winning those events. So like that's a personal and professional high. That's a great spot to be in. And she got engaged. It felt like things were really on the up and up with her, but it hasn't really, those personal highs haven't really matriculated to her persona and her kind of like mental stability on the court. Because it's not that she's just losing. World number ones are going to take losses, but specifically in the match against Sarah Balick, her mentality and kind of annoyance and kind of center of self.
There was no way she's going to win my match. My mom was like, this is going 3. I'm like, where?
Yeah.
Because she's going to quit before. She's going to tank this match before. Yeah. She could have went 3 sets. And she like lost a break point or something. The girl broke her at 5-4, and I was just like, "Oh, she's done. Like she can't wait to get off this court." She walked off with all her rackets in her
quickly.
Yeah. They all got smashed, likely, in the locker room. Like, I don't know. I think mentally she's just like not having fun out there. And she's already, to your point, she goes into these matches annoyed, and so. I think all you have to do at that point, too. So when she gets annoyed, I do think that, going back to Alicia Parks, but you get back to a point where you're like, see, this is where you guys have a very similar game. It's just a matter of just like mentally locking into like...
constructing a point and staying in a point.
Right. And that's what I think Lindsay Davenport said last night. They were like, what does she have to do to get back into this match? She's like, 1, calm down, and 2... commit to building points. And I was like, yeah, it is. When you play like that and you have that game style, it's just a fine line. And if you're not mentally there, it just totally unravels. And so I don't know, she's like not having fun. So
it's just so interesting because it looked like she was having the time of her life 4 months ago. And it doesn't seem that way now, and I just wonder, it's her personal life, so, it's tough to kind of gauge what's going on for things that she hasn't said, but it does make me wonder, and it makes me cautious about, like, how long we're going to see her. I'm not making big predictions like she's never going to win a slam again, but there does come points in people's career where, sludges backwards happen and dips in form happen. And it's really hard to be a sustained world number one for essentially 2 straight years. And she's been world number one for like 90 plus weeks. So it's approaching that kind of status. And we'll see what happens with her going forward. But the last couple of months, it's fair to say, has been below par. Not a terrible season, because you got to factor in the fact that she has already made Australian final, won the Sunshine Double, 3 massive tournaments to get to the final. I guess you can say
she didn't have that, like, last year wasn't that different. Like, she just ended up winning the US Open in the end. But she was losing those finals too. But was consistently in them, the semis or the finals. So I think I know we might get to this point eventually, but that's why I'm like, don't ever disrespect Venus or Serena, because every time we see players try to, whether it's emulate or just like follow in the footsteps of being a world number one and being in sustained excellence, and what does that look like over the course of years, decades? You see it with Naomi. The crown got way too heavy. You win 4, and then it was too much, and you take a break, and you end up having a child. Iga, same thing. She wins hers, and then she falls off. She came back and obviously won Wimbledon and the US Open.
She got a lot of sleep, remember?
Yeah, she got, exactly. So I do, and then Sabalenka. So it's always a reminder to me. And when you talk about wild cards and do these women deserve to be here, it's like, let's not even act like you're just so quick to forget what they've done. And when you see the current players try to do the same thing now, it doesn't hit the same. And it's just nuts. They can't handle the pressure.
Not you segued us into Venus category in the wild card conversation. We're going to get back to that, but I just wanted to...
talking about her. I see you. You just sub. You don't even say at Venus. You're just like, I guess. I guess.
I hate that it is so obvious, but I try not to make it obvious. I love Venus.
Maybe because we're just both shady. I'm like, I know exactly what he's talking. Because I said the same thing. I just am not gonna. I'm like, oh my God.
Sometimes it's hard, man.
Their doubles match. I'm like.
I literally, for Venus and Serena's doubles match, I promise we're going to get to the men's side, but for Venus and Serena's doubles match, I literally started off watching the very beginning of it, and I looked at the time, and it was It was 20 minutes in, right?
So rough. That was
20 minutes in, I literally got up, put my shoes on, put on a shirt, and went to the local restaurant that had like $10 off dozens of oysters. And I was like, this sounds like a great day to do that. Mm-hmm. That was my first time doing that. Got me a beer, and I was like, Venus and Serena, you are not going to stress me in the year of 2026.
Yeah.
But did I put the match back on my phone and watch while I was eating oysters? Yes, I did. And it got better. It got better. But those first 20 minutes, I was like, ain't no way. Ain't no way we doing this.
They can't play together. I mean, sorry. There has to be someone who's 20 years old or younger, like 30 or younger. Right. Or Alex Diallo Alex Diallo and Venus. I don't really know if they play that well together. They don't have to do that again. She needs to go back to Leylah Fernandez. But they need someone who's 30 or younger on the side of the court of them. Because if you guys are not going to be playing, like Serena's going to be playing every 6 weeks to 4 years, and you're going to go play with Venus, someone has to be getting the ball in the court. So you guys cannot play together. Someone who consistently is on tour and one of the Williams sisters.
But that thought process makes me feel like you can just not do this. Because it's not a sustainable strategy to be out there taking wild cards at this level with all that you've accomplished and performing. It's not that the performances are like all the way.
Yeah, they're not abysmal. I mean, I'm entertained. Yeah,
but you are a champion, and it's not like Venus and Serena didn't have other things they were interested in while they were at their prime. Mm-hmm. That's what I struggle with too. It's like both of y'all do other things. Yeah. So why this kind of like we're out of it, but not really out of it mentality in tennis when you literally have set up yourself to do other things? Again, that like in my ears, in my headphones, there's like a side of me that's like, no, that's so harsh. Like it's the Williams sisters. They deserve utmost respect. And I have that for them. How and ever.
No, I literally made a video where it was just stream of consciousness. I was like, I love her, but I don't want to see her lose, but I don't want to not see her play, but I also I don't need girls racking up, the accomplishments of like, I took out Venus and Serena at Cincinnati.
And it loses its value.
And it's starting to. Yeah. It is. And people are like, well, who are you?
Yeah. A fan.
Who are you to decide, or why does she need to answer to you? I'm like, she doesn't need to answer to me. I try to keep my opinions actually quite minimal when it came to Serena playing singles, because I didn't see the point of doing that at Wimbledon. Mm-hmm. And then you bust up your knee and now you're injured I'm like, yeah, because you had no business out there playing singles, in my opinion. I think compete in doubles, watching her and Victoria was great.
Sure.
I think seeing Serena play doubles consistently would be awesome. I don't know if I see the point in playing these singles matches.
Let's just hope that they start to feel that way too. That's the best way I can put it. I think Serena started to feel that way back in 2021, 2022, and she started taking some L's and was like, wait, hold up. I'm not here to be doing that. And then now maybe she doesn't take that US Open wild card that's like been open for her. Maybe she
takes it. Take it. I mean, don't make it all about you. Why not?
But that's the thing though. You know that like you can go out there. It must be
I wouldn't make it my last one. I wouldn't keep doing this. I would make the US Open my last time taking it.
Especially if it's Venus's last time. Like, y'all need to close the box.
Someone had my brother. No. This is what I mean by like the family group chat is just like so much different than what I actually put out.
Don't put them on blast.
Okay, fine. But essentially, he was like, is there not another tour? Like, can they not create another?
Oh my God.
Like, they could actually create their own thing. They could just do exhibition matches.
And we would go. I would go. Don't let Venus and Serena pull up to an exhibition tour in New Orleans or Houston or Dallas or Atlanta and just play for shits and giggles.
Flavor on, like there could be different elements to it. There could be sponsors. They have all their famous
friends. Ain't they friends with Kim Kardashian?
There could be
pass out Skims.
You guys could have a GLP-1 stand if you want. Do what you want with it.
Venus could literally sell Lacoste gear. People would be there to watch and support the legacy that is Venus and Serena. And it would be, oh my God, do you know that would, look, not us coming up with an event. You know what that would be a great segue for? little black boys or little black girls or people of color, if I want to keep it PC, to have an
Like
experience, a showcase, like come and hit with me, Venus, and Serena. It's not like you need a wild card to the U.S. Open or the Cincinnati Open to do it. But yeah, we're going to put a couple eyes on you, see how we're doing. It can be a college player. It can be like a little mini tournament.
The girl that just won the USTA, the girls 18.
Janae Preston?
So she ended up losing, but Thea Freuden, she won.
Both of them.
Yeah, they're both young black girls. There's so many of them, but which is such a great thing. So to your point, there could be a showcase opportunity. I mean, that would be a huge undertaking. Right. I was going to say a huge undertaking. Happy to take it on.
But we can take it. We can do it. We can do it.
For sure. And that could be something entire, like the Laver Cup has its own thing, and that came
Christina,
out better.
You're speaking my language. I literally was in my own version of my family group chat not long ago being like, Venus, girl, I just came up with 5 or 6 things that you could be doing involved in tennis, but not actually on the WTA tour. Let's explore those with love while I hold your hand and tell you this is not working. This current setup is not working.
I don't even know if she's having fun. I don't really know. They walked off the court a little different to me.
Maybe because they know it's time to,
And Serena said in their press conference, she's like, "This isn't forever," and I think that's what makes this fun.
That was good to hear.
She knows that this is forever because she has kids. Venus seems like she could do this for. I have a whole thing about Venus, and that is we don't have time for that, but I don't know.
Let's go over to the men's ATP Cincinnati. And I think the last 2 people we didn't mention at all that are still in the women's draw. Let me see. Hold on. Because there's somebody we didn't mention. Oh, Madison Keys is still in.
No.
And she takes on Madison Keys takes on Sarah Balick, who we were just talking about. Yeah. So
neither of them are winning the tournament. So
Balick versus Keys, Goff versus Kostyuk, Anisimova versus Pegula, and then Swiatek Rybakina all in the quarterfinals. And that's going to be your champion. Who are you picking? Without thinking too far. Who are you picking? Just off top of those names. Who are you picking?
It's either Iga or Rybakina or Coco or
Kostyuk.
Yeah, I think it comes out of those 2. I think Iga is just hard to bet against right now with her 9-match win streak. I think that side of the quarterfinals, honestly, this whole quarterfinals, I see them being quarterfinalists in
New York.
In New York as well.
At least half of them, 4 of them out of the 8 for sure. Probably more than that. But I'm gonna go Coco. I'm gonna Coco wins the whole thing. It's time for a title.
I think she peaks in New York though.
She can do both. We've seen her do both.
She could do. You're telling
We've seen her do both.
They dragged me in my comments the other day. I said I never said they couldn't do both. I was just saying, if it was me, I would get out of Cincinnati
and Mason, Ohio.
Hello. Okay.
Okay, let's dip our toe back into Mason, Ohio, and talk about the men's singles. We're not going to stay on it for too long because I know we've been yapping for a while. Let's start with one of the biggest headlines out of the tournament, which has to do with Novak Djokovic, who hasn't played since Wimbledon. He took a L to 25-year-old Argentine Thiago Agustin Tarante. He's having a breakout career, sitting at a career high of 5. That was the biggest upset of his career. He defeated Djokovic 2-6, 6-4, 6-4 in the second round. And I think he also went on to defeat Jakub Mensik, who has won a Masters 1000 before.
He's a good player.
And he plays Arthur Fils in the quarterfinals this Thursday night.
Yeah.
Before we get into the Arthur Fils and Tarante of it all, Djokovic, what are your thoughts? He took that L and looked like he was he was keeling over. He
loves to do that. That's a signature of his. I think at the end of the day, I don't think we can overreact about any of Djokovic's losses in Masters 1000s because there's too much evidence that shows that he can look questionable before a slam, and suddenly he is the Novak Djokovic again when it matters the most. So I think similarly, he loses. He definitely didn't set out to lose first round, but I don't think he was really trying to stick around Mason, Ohio for 2 weeks
Too
either.
much longer.
So, and it's fine when Ben Shelton loses first round, but when I say it's best to hurry up and lose in Ohio, it's like, oh, you're telling the people to tank. It's like, you don't think he didn't make it look like he was tanking, but he just won a Masters 1000. So if you can hurry up and get out of the next Masters 1000 so you could prepare properly for a Grand Slam, I think you do that. So I think that, at this stage, though, I think it's worth looking at that physical part more when it comes to Novak, particularly in this part of his career. I think the question isn't whether he can produce championship-level tennis when he needs to. He absolutely can. We all know that. But I think it's whether he can sustain it for 7 best-of-5 matches and how quickly he can recover every 2 days. And I think he can make it to the semis just like he did at he made it to the finals of the Australian Open. He beat
and semis of Wimbledon,
So, and semis. So I think that he'll be just fine. He wanted to get up out of Ohio, and he has whatever condition he needs to address. Who knows what that is? But
that man has been playing possum for over 20 years now.
And
he's damn good at it.
And you and my mom would go together real well.
I'm only going to believe that he has an actual physical issue is if this is not probably not going to happen. They're never going to schedule him in the heat of the day on Arthur Ashe. But if they do, and he's playing against somebody who's 25, 26, and doesn't mind, keeping the ball in the court and rallying with him and has a little pace, if he starts hyperventilating and curling up into a baby fetus position, then we can be on to something. But until then, he's playing possum.
But
we did see it in Australia, though. He got so lucky in Australia with Musetti. He got so lucky. Right. He's also lucky, too. Like, how are you a possum and lucky? Man.
But I my thing there was just like, that is a part of being great. I mean, it's not his fault that Musetti is also, it's like, a part of being great is sticking around. Who's going to pop a groin first? You did. Well, then I'm into the semifinals and I'm going to take out Sinner. And I'm like, so.
Because I'm well rested now.
So I think that, and it'll be interesting to see if he's not physically 100%, Sinner's not 100%, and Alcaraz is not 100%. I thought it was going to be so boring. It wasn't my favorite Grand Slam final of the year, Roland Garros, by any means, but it was interesting to see, like,
the lead-up was
all these boys are dropping like flies. Who's going to win? And so I think those 3 are not 100%. Zverev is never 100% because
he plays so much in the first
100%
8 months of the year.
Yeah. So I don't know. I do think if the favorites aren't 100%, what does that do for the rest of the draw? And I think everyone starts to play a lot more free. And you're seeing a lot more names like Taranti or Caboli or, different Ben Shelton, Taylor Fritz. You're like, Brandon Nakashima. The list goes on where you're just like, who said you? Like, since when have you been this good? And it's like, I guess when you change the camera angle to someone else, you're like, oh.
And you give that space of, like, I don't want to call it B-tier tennis, but it's just great tennis that isn't necessarily producing the highest of the highs, like Alcaraz.
It's definitely B+, but
I mean, they're passing. They're absolutely
passing. I mean, these are top 10 players, top 20 players. It's just like when the top 2 to 3 are greatest of all time, it really does skew what, like, really great tennis looks like.
I like the fact that we're looking at A-. We're looking at A- level ATP stars kind of ballot out for these.
Yeah, they're really A-. The A+ is just so it's just so unbelievable. But there truly are A-.
Yeah, I like it.
Players.
But we'll see what Djokovic does because that possum is prime.
Oh, he's bringing it to New York.
He's and his draw is not going to be hard. He's not going to get some like raging, speeding up the ranking kind of player. He's going to work himself into the U.S. Open.
But he has had some of those matches, though, where those young guys, I mean, they play the best. And so he beats them in 4. But there is that one set where you're like, who is this? And then they go up to the net and they're like, oh, my God, I've loved you so much. And Djokovic is like holding their neck like their father. It's like, all right, get this.
Oh, yeah, that whole song and dance. If you like that song and dance for Novak Djokovic, go check out his recently debuted documentary on Amazon Prime. I may get around to it, but I haven't watched Roger or Rafa's yet, so I certainly won't be starting with Novak Djokovic. So get to it when I get to it. Let's get to some of those other A- players we just mentioned. Flavio Cobolli, the number 7 seed. Let's do a live check-in on his match against Tommy Paul, because they've been playing in the time we've been speaking, and it is a set all.
Oh, wow, yeah.
They're playing for a spot in the semifinals, Paul versus Cobolli. Tommy Paul took the first set 6-2. Cobolli took the second set 6-3, and they are on serve very early in the third set. So we'll be keeping an eye out on that. And keep your eye out on that, because one of those players is going to be in the semis for sure. I have interesting thoughts about Cobolli because, one, everybody keeps telling me he looks like Tyreek Withers.
I saw that. I kind of saw it. I was like, he looks mixed.
If you squint, yeah, he got a
my
little...
mom was like, those Italians, the way Italy curves around, you're like,
It is close to Africa, huh?
It's like...
It gets
What's
a little
your background?
combined.
Yeah.
I know that's right.
Because Sinner's from the Alps. Like, that's a different part of Italy. Cobolli, who knows where he's from? It's like, you look really tan. Maybe you could do the cornrows.
Maybe. I still don't know if that was AI or not. Like, he never came out and fully, moved with the cornrows. Let's hope it was AI, because Carlos didn't rock it well at all. But
don't butcher the cornrow. Like, don't piss me off.
Respect us.
Right.
Cobolli has been putting in some good performances this year. I just do think that there's kind of like what we said. He's at an A- level, at his very highest level, and I think he can squeeze out to an A+. Like, he was very close to winning the French Open this year. He got to the Wimbledon quarterfinals 2 years in a row. Like, there is second weekend.
I think he's B+. I think A- is being generous.
I feel a little. I'm more inclined to be generous with Cobolli because he passes my eye test. I see a level of pace and dynamicism in his game that I feel like can live with Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. Maybe not for long, and maybe those two have to be off their game a little bit, but it's there. Things kind of have to work in his direction.
So you put him above or with like a Fonseca?
With.
Okay.
Yeah. Fonseca hasn't shown me that he can live with Cobolli's highest level yet. I mean, it's in the, the proof is in the pudding. Fonseca hasn't been to a Grand Slam semi or final.
Yeah, but also did Cobolli really? Because he didn't play against Arnaldi either.
Yeah, but in that final, I think if he plays that again and has just a touch more experience and calms down, he could definitely walk away from that match the winner. He was close enough. It's not like Zverev
for sure. Oh yeah.
You know, it's not like Zverev just blew him out of the water.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's a world where he's a French Open champion now, and he already has experience. I think he's won. I mean, not a 1,000 yet, but he's won Acapulco, which is a 500, and I think another 500 somewhere else that I can't remember.
He's definitely a player you don't want to see in your section, and I think to your point, you want to see him get to a point where he's a player where people expect him to win the tournament. And so he's somewhere in between. Like, I don't want to see him in my section, but I don't think he's winning this tournament. At least that's how I would describe him. Like, right, he's definitely dangerous if he's in your quarter, if he's in your section. I wouldn't be like, similar to Pegula, out of all the players that are left, I wouldn't pick you as the one that's going to win.
How did we land back to Pegula? Hey, that's so funny. Well, wishing Cobolli luck, and similarly Tommy Paul. We've talked about how, he's one of our favorite players to watch. He got a big win over Alexander Zverev after saving a match point in the second set tiebreak. So Cobolli and Tommy Paul are out there giving it their all, and one of them will be in the semis. So wishing both of them luck.
Yeah.
And we need to figure out how we can get Tyreek Withers and Flavio Cobolli in the same room together. Because they probably don't have either clue who the other is.
Maybe in New York. That would be, that's the best bet. Like, I definitely see Tyreek Withers showing up to a night match. So,
Christina, we are making connections happen. We're putting together events, WTA, ATP, Laver Cup, and beyond.
Right now, it's all free. Get us while it's free.
yes. We're giving you social media commentary and all kind of things. Just... You don't know what you got, okay? Who else is still in Cincinnati? Taylor Fritz. We've talked about Taylor Fritz. I don't know if you just saw the video I posted or the clip of me comparing him to oatmeal. Good nonetheless, always on the buffet line, but not necessarily like, ooh, let's go check out Fritz's match, respectfully. You know what I mean?
100%. I have nothing nice to say. I'm not that I'm like, I hate that man. I just don't have that many like raving things to say, so I won't say anything at all.
He is a very great mind, though. If you are ever in a situation, and I think it takes a very niche person to get this hip part of Taylor Fritz, but if you ever ask him a tennis question, he gets in the weeds. Like, having been in his press conferences and in just like watching his videos, he is not afraid of nerding out. And I think he is a little bit of like a gaming nerd, like that.
He is a gamer, yeah.
His tennis IQ is off the charts. He's probably going to make a wonderful coach one day.
Really?
But, yeah,
I think when I see clips of him in like Instagram, you know, like in those like social media videos with players and stuff like that, I think that's when he's the funniest, because he's kind of like, he's kind of ditzy.
Introvert.
Yeah, and it's like, what did you just say? So I think I find him most likable literally off the court. On the court, to your point, I'm like, is anybody else playing?
Yeah. He's metronomic in a way. Super competitive and always wants to win, but his game is just a little metronomic, you know?
Yeah.
Similarly with Brandon Nakashima, a little bit?
But
do you feel differently?
No, yeah. I think Brandon is...
There has to be some reason, though.
Key themes. Mob money.
There has to be some reason, though.
Feeling like he has a new coach, and
he does have a new coach, Wayne Ferreira, but there has to be a reason why he has been low on the radar for these past couple of years and hasn't been mentioned with the Ben Shelton, Francis. Like True, and I wonder, like, where has this been? Because now he's flexing after matches, making jokes at the...
Because he's beating people, like, because he's in the finals of a tournament. Like, of course I'm feeling myself. I think it's great. I'm like, and that is also why it's so important to, like, maybe you need a new coach. Like, maybe you just need... Because he has been here all along, and it's like, your name has been in draws, and we like him and like a Marcus Garone. You're like, okay, they'll like, you know, like they were the American guys that you're like, they're not in the same group. I don't know what's happened in the last 6 to 8 weeks, but Brandon is about to have such a great U.S. Open. Like, I'm excited for him. His serve, insane.
Yeah.
His points,
backhand is like money.
I mean, I don't know who this man is, but...
The forehand can get shaky, but that backhand has always been money. His serve is even more potent. I like Brandon Nakashima in the mix. He's not necessarily the guy now that you're probably going to put on your poster board to like market your tournament, but he can enthrall himself in a good match. He's very good at that, like just, you know, staying even keel, but then producing high level tennis. And a lot of the guys should take him seriously in this event and going into the U.S. Open, because he's playing best tennis of his career, as is Arthur Feast. I didn't mention him when we were talking about Tirante, but Tirante and Arthur Feast play tonight. And Arthur Feast, I think, it's so easy to be swept up in his tennis. Aesthetically,
you're going to say in his looks.
But yes, his looks play a part in it, because he has that, like, this is the guy, like, he's the handsome jock. He fits it to a T, for sure. But his tennis is also like, oh, you can go far with this, you know? It's not just the handsome jock thing. And I hope this is an opportunity for him and Cincinnati. I mean, this is an open section. Like, he's going to go through potentially Tirante to get to the semis, and then in the semis he's going to face Paul or Caboli for your first Masters 1000 final. And him
and Tommy Paul had that unbelievable, I think maybe one of the best 3-set matches I've ever seen. In Miami. And I just think that, Arthur Feast is, when he's playing locked in, I mean, there's like not too many people hitting as big of a ball as he is. He has actually like the fastest forehander.
With RPMs and pace. It's not just
with
spinny.
RPMs, and pace. I think listening to you talk about this, I think all these players do look incredible, particularly in a 2 out of 3 setting. I don't know what this looks like over the course of 3 out of 5 sets. So, I mean, Brandon Nakashima, Tirante, Caboli, Feast, all of them, you guys look so good playing 2 out of 3. I wonder what this, and they've shown us that
Feast hasn't shown me best of 5 tennis yet.
Best of 5 tennis, exactly. And so that's why I was like, actually, I don't know.
Paul can handle
always
it.
Sticks around, right?
Caboli can handle it, I think, too. We saw him play a best of 5
like he's proven to you what you need to see. I don't know. I still need to see.
You're making it sound like I'm on the Caboli hype train, and I guess I am.
You are. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, it will just be so interesting to see what this all looks like 2 weeks from now, because they do all look like A- players, and then I'm like, oh wait, I think this is really B+ tennis at a Grand Slam.
Yeah.
Because a lot like even like Francis.
Great segue, because I was going to ask you about.
Dude, is there something else you need to get taken out of your body? Because if that was the cyst that like was keeping you from being this elite, I mean, he's like incredible without this cyst on his wrist. I'm like,
yeah, maybe it was like a little bug of kryptonite that he was holding on to.
Yeah, do you have something on your hip you need to get out? Like, what else do we need? Because you look ready.
Nah, okay, I gotta be honest. The results of him beating Leonard Tien and Felix Auger-Aliassime back to back is great. Like, those are both top 20 players taking those wins all day long. And I didn't see a whole bunch of the Auger-Aliassime match, but from what I did see and from what I heard, Auger-Aliassime was just not together in that match.
There's something going on with him.
Yeah, but then with Leonard Tien, I watched a good bit of that match, and he could have lost that match. He should have won that in straight sets, but he didn't.
Yeah.
And I do think that I'm equally happy for any time Tiafoe wins, but I do want to see him be a little bit more decisive, put in a complete performance, no lapse, be focused from beginning to end, because I feel like those are the exact things he's going to need if he finds himself deep into the U.S. Open again. And you can't.
And you saw at like
the U.S. Open
French and Wimbledon, he there's so many matches that he's supposed to just win, and he says it himself too. And like, I think that's what's frustrating as a Francis Tiafoe fan for years, where it's just like, what is it going to take for you?
You keep telling us, and I am believing that you are a big match player. There is evidence of that. It's not completely void of evidence. However, there is evidence that you are not, and you don't win those tight matches. So, like, which one are we going to be? You know what I mean? It's tough, because the game is there to be a B-, A- type of player, to get to a semifinal, to be a top 10 player, but also that game to kind of be relegated to, 15 to 30 is there. You just have to be consistent
about it. And I think that what Ben came on the scene, and you had the same questions, and then he figured out how to be consistent, and he did that in a 2 to 3 year span. Same thing with Taylor Fritz. He's the same age as Francis. I think that's what separates him, it seems like, from Francis and Tommy, where it's just like Taylor just, again, like Pegula, they just stick around. They just make it to the end of the tournament, where you don't. So and
the match, they stay at a competitively high level in the match. They find a way.
So that's what I would need to see.
I think that's everybody. Oh, we didn't talk about Tiafoe's opponent in the quarters, and they play Friday probably evening. The draw hasn't come, or the schedule hasn't come out, but I'm sure they're going to make that an evening match because it's high billing and it's Tiafoe. Musetti.
Oh.
Who,
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, quietly. Every time I think about Musetti, I think about the fact that he actually hasn't won an event of any size anywhere since 2022. And I'm like, oh, that's getting, like, I think he's lost like 7 finals in a row. And granted, it's good to get to 7 finals, in your career.
He's also someone who's surprisingly young, isn't he?
Yeah, he's only like 22 or 23.
Yeah.
He's like Carlos Alcaraz's age, just without the accolades. So I want Musetti in the mix. Some people feel like he rubs in the wrong way, which, whatever. Not whatever, because I do think there's some merit.
I think that's just something about the Italians. I think that they're literally all of them. You could go
either way.
Like, they're either really well mannered, like Sinner and like a Berrettini. Or you're like Caboli or Darderi. I don't know if I say.
Yeah.
Like you have there's just like this flair about you that you're like a
Fognini.
Fognini, I was gonna say. So you could really go either way with them. I like the personality for sure. I don't know, but I do think Caboli and Darderi, and I know they kind of run me the wrong way. Musetti, not so much. I just wish he wouldn't pull out of tournaments as much as he does.
His body has been failing him, which I think definitely contributes to the fact that he hasn't won a title since 2022. And honestly, like, I'm rooting for Francis, but here's an opportunity on paper for Musetti to get to a final.
Well, I think it's also a great opportunity. I thought all these matches so far for Francis have been a test. and he's passed them so far. So I think Musetti is just going to be another one of those tests. Like, are you ready to take out someone who's also a contender for this tournament? So, I think that this is also, Francis is one of those players that needs all of these matches ahead of the U.S. Open. So,
got to build the momentum and get the engines going. So I'll be keeping my eye on that, and hopefully that produces some great tennis, because this whole entire bottom half and even the top half, like literally, one of Tommy Paul Caboli, we're going to figure out who wins that in a matter of time. Tirante Arthur Fils, Fritz, Nakashima, Musetti, Tiafoe is going to win Cincinnati. And out of those names, only one of them has ever actually won a Masters 1000, and that was Fritz over 4 years ago. So this is going to be...
also won like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. So opportunity abound for all of those guys. So I'll be tuned in, and I actually like it. What we said at the beginning of this section, it is nice to see the A-/B+ players mix it up without the like real valedictorians, if you will, because everybody can ball, everybody can pass the test in their own way, but they're not like blowing everybody out of the water. So there's times for each person to kind of really step on and be on the top. I like it that way. Some people think it's chaotic, and sure, it is better when everybody's in the mix and you get to see.
It's the WTA tour. It's like,
boom. Well, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
No,
The WTA tour is like about that.
When anyone can win a tournament.
Because they're all good.
Because not because everyone is like lackluster, but because everyone is really, really good. We'll see. Okay. We have yapped for quite a while. Do you have to go? No. Okay. I will. I have about I would say 15 minutes left.
Okay, in those, let's do 10. Let's do a little speed round, because there are some headlines that I guess we should talk about. We hit on one earlier, which is the wild card scenario. The wild cards for the U.S. Open have come out. Venus Williams has got one in singles. Sloane Stephens also has one. The one that has been yet to be announced is reportedly to be for Serena Williams, but it has yet to come through if that's going to happen. We shall see. Who are the other wild cards they announced?
So Thea Forden,
Did she get a qualifying wild card or a main draw?
No, she gets a main draw, whereas Janae gets the qualifying.
Gotcha. Okay.
Let me pull this up. It was just...
I had this in my notes. I didn't. Yikes.
U.S. Open just posted about it. Some girls that I was like, who are you?
There were some people I didn't know of either. I was like, okay.
Tyler Preston.
She's in Australia, and Australia does the reciprocal, like, you get a wild card, we get a wild card type of thing.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I like that. That's
been going on for years. You didn't know that?
That seems interesting.
Yeah, the only person or the only entity in a Grand Slam nation that doesn't partake in it is Wimbledon. But every time the Australian gets around,
of course there's going
to be a USA recipient, and for vice versa for all three of the other slams, Australia, French, and U.S. Open. They call it a reciprocal wild card to make sure at least one person or whatever from those three nations gets represented or gets a chance to be, in competition. Because typically it goes to like the startups.
Just the, okay, yeah.
Yeah, typically it's like we want to give you a shot to, see what we have. But in this year's, I think Taylor Preston is relatively young.
Yeah.
I think. But on the men's side, they gave the French reciprocal to Gael Monfils, which...
Yeah. You don't like it?
I guess.
I love it.
I have interesting feelings about Gael Monfils.
Really?
Yeah. I do. Do I want to expound on them now? No, I'm going to wait until it's all said and done. Maybe
that's a whole different
video.
Because we just skipped over how I feel about Jack Draper and Taylor Fritz. I think that's a whole other segment.
But the full list of women's singles main draw recipients, in addition to Venus Williams and Sloane Stephens, are Carol Young-Soo Lee, who is the U.S. Open Wildcard Challenge winner, which I think has to do with how many points you win in challenger level lead-ups. And she won that slot. Also, Reese Brantmeyer, 21-year-old American collegiate player, wildcard playoff. That's from her, championships at the collegiate level.
Oh, she probably won the singles. Okay.
You mentioned Thea Froden, who is the USTA Girls 18s national champion. And then we said Taylor Preston, the 20-year-old who got the reciprocal from Tennis Australia. And then Leola Jean-Jean of France got the reciprocal wild card with the French Tennis Federation.
Got it.
And then while we're at wild card stage, let's go over to the men. The men wild cards have been announced as Martin Dam, 22-year-old, current world number 94. I think his dad played professional tennis, so he's getting a little,
Nepo.
Yeah, respectfully, because he's not a bad tennis player, but
Sure.
Yeah. Michael Jing, he played collegiate tennis in Colombia. He's really good. 22, two-time reigning NCAA.
He was balling at Wimbledon.
He took out Sebastian Korda at the Australian Open, and he did do great at Wimbledon.
He took out Nori.
I think he did. Nori at Wimbledon, and then Korda at the Australia, which are impressive wins for a guy that is making his way on the tour.
He's good.
Who else? We mentioned Gael Monfils. He got the reciprocal wild card from the FFT.
Yeah, I know all these. Okay, I saw Martin Dam play against Ben at DC. And so he was pretty. JJ Wolf.
Jack Kennedy.
He won the USTA Boys 18s.
Gotcha. And then there's still one to be announced. So there's one to be announced.
Alexi Poprin, and then who's Sebastian?
Oh, no, Alexi Poprin got in today. This is breaking news. Alexi Poprin got in today.
Oh, that's the Australian blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, he was going to use that Australian wild card, but Alejandro Davidovich Fokina pulled out, and he was the next direct entry, coincidentally. Okay. So that Australian wild card went to 25-year-old Dane Sweeney, who I think won a round or two at the Australian Open earlier this year. If you're like, who is that? Put him on YouTube and you'll see him play. So yeah, there's that. Not really big feelings outside of the should Venus get one, should Venus not get one. She has one. It's up to her ultimately. Like, we can, put our hands in a pot and say our opinions about should she be taking them, should they be giving it to her. It's happening, and it's going to be up to her ultimately because she is such a great name. So if she wants to stop,
And people act like the wild card would go to someone who's winning the tournament. Like, Venus isn't going to win the tournament, and neither is the other wild card person that they would have given to it. So it's not like we're talking about someone coming through qualifying, like a Emma Raducanu, which is also like a. And then we saw with the girl at the French Open this year.
Oh, Maya Jewelinska.
Yeah. At once in a blue moon does a qualifier make it all the way to the final. That is different than, again, a wild card. So I don't know. I think people need to stop acting like these wild card. Venus is taking it from someone who they're also about to lose first round of the U.S. Open. So might as well see Venus lose first round of the U.S. Open. True.
There's that point as well. I'll take it as a good point. And then what else did I have in like the little other stuff happening? Serena's wild card. Serena's wild card, which may or may not happen. But outside of wild card news, there is the headlines, which have been dominating my socials, my inbox, all of that stuff, which I have to say before I even go into it, me and Nick Kyrgios, who this story is about, have shared space and time, and we have a rapport. It didn't always start off as great because I used to be one of the people in the commenters or in the comments giving it to him hard. But we found personal outside of tennis stuff like common ground. So it is hard-ish for me to like report and see on this because I wouldn't call him like he's not going to be at my potential wedding, but
sure,
if I see him, we have good rapport. He was provisionally suspended by the International Tennis Integrity Union, or wait, I didn't say that right. He was suspended by the International Tennis Integrity Agency on Wednesday after testing positive for a cocaine metabolite. Is it metabolite? Whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. There was some cocaine in his system. Okay. And he was given, That sample was given at an ATP event in Mallorca, Spain, back in June. So he has been technically suspended, which started and was in effect August 4th. He hasn't appealed it yet, but he did go to his personal Instagram and took ownership over it, calling it a huge mistake, apologizing to his fans, especially the young ones, the sponsors, kids who follow him, and said he was going to take away from social media and like public life for a couple of days, weeks, and so on. Your thoughts, Christina? Wait, I think I saw you make a video about this. Like you were like, this is not surprising.
It's not surprising. And I just think that people, those were some of my recent comments that like, you're so mean, you're so disappointing. I like your takes, but this is too far. It's like, what's too far? I mean, I think that like, again, if you just started watching tennis yesterday, you're probably like, oh, give the guy a break. I've been watching tennis, my whole life, but two, since Nick Kyrgios came on tour. Right. And I was a Nick Kyrgios fan. I used to be like, he's so misunderstood. He's, there was like racial undertones. You're like, you're just making him out to seem like the bad black boy on tour. And then he continued to be that person for 10, 15 years. Like, so it's just, to me, I would have loved to see some like personal growth from Nick throughout his career that I don't think I saw. I don't think he maximized his potential. And I don't know him personally, so I won't speak too much about that. But the things that I have seen in terms of his court cases and allegations and accusations and things like that, like it's not someone I support. So I'm not going to see this new headline and be like,
shocking.
So I'm so sad for him. Like, no, right? Like, I'm just like, I would hate to be, I think it's really, I'm more disappointed in the fact that like, of how little I personally think of him in terms of like, I used to think of you not very highly, but I actually used to be a fan and ride for you, and to get to a point where I'm like, just go. Don't wish anything bad for you. I've seen enough, and I think the best thing we can do is actually give him little attention. Like, I don't think you should be rewarded with more attention for bad behavior.
I get all of that, and it is hard to see the goodwill in somebody like Nick Kyrgios, who respectfully has had a documented
his struggles.
spotlight in his career, his profession, as being a little bit of a bad boy and making some questionable decisions. He has done that, and from a personal level, like Nick Kyrgios having cocaine in his body isn't necessarily like shocking. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody that like, in respect to like, I personally don't indulge, but that is a very like accessible recreational drug for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So like in the grand scheme of things, I can't pass too much judgment on it, but it is a big thing when you put it in the context of him being a professional athlete who is supposed to be clean and doing things the right way.
Also, this was at a tournament. This wasn't like they showed up at your house. If you didn't get caught, you had every intention of playing this tournament having just been partying. And I don't think this is the first time that he used to be at the pub. Like, he has that interview after Wimbledon where he was like, I saw you at the pub last night. Like, right, this isn't like, he had every intention of playing this tournament and partying at the same time. He just got caught.
He was in Mallorca, Spain. I don't know how far away that is from Ibiza, but it sounds
they have a good time.
Sounds like a good time, right? But again, it is serious, and I think he knows it's serious, especially with his statement. It's just unfortunate because I do think and know that there are a lot of good positive things in Nick Kyrgios's demeanor, in his persona. I've been privy to kind of see that there are. He's not like this evil person, but the truth is, a lot of the headlines that have followed his career have been off the court stuff that he has had to atone for, and this unfortunately is one of them. But however, he's not the first and probably will not be the last tennis player to test positive for cocaine.
Yeah.
And for example, Martina Hingis tested positive for it in 2007, and she came back and played another successful doubles career. Richard Gasquet tested positive for it. Dan Evans tested positive for it as recently as 2017. So, like, people, like I said earlier, it's a recreational drug that everybody, knows somebody that has access to, unfortunately. Sure. So, yeah, it's tough because if you were to ask me who are like my favorite non-Black players at the top of the show, like I asked you, Nick Kyrgios comes to mind. Even with all of the like extra stuff he comes on the court with and how he kind of is very demonstrative and sometimes that has bled into being outright disrespectful, the game had everybody worried, rightfully
100%.
so. You know,
I think that's why I was such a fan as well. There's not. I think he might be one of the only players that can say he had beaten the big three in his own right. I mean, you know, like he was honestly one of the most talented tennis players you will see in just the most effortless manner. But that's a problem. That's like the double-edged sword where it's just like you never fully took the bull by its horns when it came to your potential and just won a Grand Slam. Like it was all just kind of a joke to you until it gets taken away. And then you want to be serious, but you still are who you are. So yeah, I hope he gets better, honestly.
I hope he gets better. I hope he manages whatever he needs to manage correctly in his own time. Wishing him luck. And yeah, I don't think it's all bad for Nick Kyrgios. I do think that there is some level of redemption, and I do think those closest to him that have been impacted by his career, which you know has had definitely high moments.
For sure.
You know, they have a different experience of Nick Kyrgios, but yeah, this doesn't look good in the column of Nick Kyrgios headlines. So, wishing him the best, and then you know we'll see what happens because he's 900 or so in the world, hasn't played that much, so it wasn't like he was in the middle of this screamer, you know, professional tennis-wise. So we'll see what the next couple of chapters of Nick Kyrgios look like. So wishing him luck and just reporting on that news. I think that's it, friend. I think that's it. Let me do one more quick check-in to see what's going on with that Kaboli and Tommy Paul match before we get out of here. This is live breaking news, folks. Let me see if I can pull up the score. Christina's been beating me lately as far as using the damn internet because I'm not a good typer, I guess.
So it's 4-3 in the third.
Okay.
And I think they're on serve. So Tommy pulls up.
Kaboli serving 3-4 on serve in the third set. So there's time for us to go check that out. While they're checking that out and going to their local devices or television, Christina, I want to thank you for having this chat with me. I definitely appreciate it. And let everybody know where they can find you on socials and engage with you if they've enjoyed our conversation over the last hour and some change.
Yes, I am on TikTok and Instagram. Maybe I'll post just a bit more on TikTok because that's where I started, but happy to be on both platforms. So follow me at Christina on Serve. And Myles, this was so fun. I mean, we could chat forever, but this was hopefully first of many appearances. And I just appreciate you for giving me the time and the platform to be here with you.
I'm excited. I had really good feelings about our ability to yap, and I have been found
we're going to build an empire.
Yes. Listen, if y'all were listening, if this gets to ears of people that you know or somebody that can pull some strings, get Christina and I in your business meetings if you want to grow the sport of tennis or just create wonderful events. Because if you listen back, we did so in real time. We just need the budget.
2 or 3.
Yeah, and the hands to kind of help facilitate it. We got this, friend. All right, guys, have fun keeping up with Cincinnati. We'll be back next week with the Cincinnati results, checking in for the last few lead-up tournaments before the U.S. Open begins, which is for the men in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and the women, there is a WTA tournament in Monterrey, Mexico. I'll be giving you the 411 on that, as well as who eventually walked away with the Cincinnati title and what my thoughts are.
So there's one in Philadelphia, too. Sorry to interrupt.
There's a WTA challenger in Philadelphia, if you didn't know.
Sloane's going to play in that one.
Sloane has a wild card into that. She absolutely does. You can't just pub the 250s and up. Tennis happens on all forms, and the WTA 125s are legit competitive. So if you're in the Philly area and hear the sound of my voice and I'm subscribed to Tuned Into Tennis, make sure you go check that out. If this is your first time listening to Tuned Into Tennis, make sure you give us 5 stars on either Spotify or Apple. Rate this if you're listening to it on YouTube or watching back on YouTube. Make sure you press the thumbs up button, subscribe so you are in the Tuned In family, and that'll do it. All right, guys, until the next time, Christina and I say bye. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.